Oh, I've started the gear bay. This is the left wing. You just need to take your time here because it's pretty busy and things interlock with each other. So this first section here, which is this section A, these four parts go together. So you've got the actuator there, and actually end of it goes through. There's a hole in that little bulkhead, which is there, and it comes through up against the where the main gear strut is. So I built that up. Then I did the this main long section and put there's two inserts that go into that. So that was this one and this one. When you glue this section in, when you put the big long one in, that piece needs to come through. There's a slot, so you gotta make sure it all fits, but you just need to wiggle it and just make sure that it's all lining up and it'll fit. I was worried that there's like a bit of a recess where these sit, and it felt when I did a dry fit, I thought this isn't going to sit in there properly, but once the glue was in, it all went in okay. And yes, they are meant to stick out. So that's that section, and I started just putting in, I've gone to the next page and I've put in, so that D9, that's D9, and there's another actuator, which again, these small parts, be careful getting them off the sprue. I got it off the sprue okay, but when I was trying to clean up the ejection pin, the gates, I broke the top half off, so I had to super glue it back on, just because it's so fine apart. And I've put in these two parts, D18, D26, which is these ones. And the test will be when I put the lower part of the wing on, because I think it'll be okay, and I'm going to find out shortly, but just a couple areas, they don't seem to, like that one there, it doesn't seem like it's sitting nice and, well, it isn't flush against the wing, but it's alright with the other part. So I'm just going to put in the guns, which I mentioned when I did the my little review, they're bent on the sprue. I didn't do that, that was when I took it out the bag, so that's unfortunate, and I'm hoping I can get it in without snapping it off, but the way I operate. I put the guns in, that's still a bit bent, that one. The more you wiggle around, the more chance it's going to break, so I'm just going to leave it. Your other option here is, if you don't want to use the plastic, of course aftermarket, but when I did like Hasegawa and Tamiya P-47s, I used, that's not, when you want it ain't there. That's too big obviously, but brass tube, and you just cut it and match it up to the plastic ones and just glue that in, that way you've got the hollow tubes. But I was using these because they are hollowed out in the end, and I'm doing an out of box build. I've just did a dry fit here, so the aileron is a single piece part on the sprue, and I thought, oh, I might be able to pose it. If you want to pose it, you'll need to, you got your little actuators on the wing, they're set that it's neutral. If you want to extend it a bit, you'd have to add a bit of plastic card to those actuators if you want to droop. The flap is where am I? That's right, there. So it's two halves, and you got the actuators go in. Just So the actuators, the instructions are a little bit vague. They just point, oh, go down, but there's a, it needs to overhang, and you'll see there's a lip on the part that sits on that lip, but you pretty much you can't go too far back anyway with the other half. So that'll sit in the upper wing. See, there's a raised line along there, and this piece has got that flat section. So that flat section butts up against the wing there, that line. So again, that'll be in the neutral position, but again, if you wanted to, you could droop that one. You could just glue it down. I'm just gonna build it again out of box as per instructions. And I thought about the so when that sits in, that gap there, I thought that may be too much, but it's right because that lines up, that panel line on the flap lines up with the wing, so that's how it's supposed to be. And I've cut the lower wing off the sprue and just done a dry fit onto the wing, the other section, so it'll fit alright once I glue it. Looks all good. Obviously I've got to put the flap in before I glue this on, but I'm just showing you before I do all that how it fits, and it looks like it should be alright. Again though, you got the sprue gates are on the surface here, 1, 2, 3, 4, so again, be careful cleaning up. It probably, I have no doubt I'll be using filler along the leading edge anyway in some areas, so it's no problem. Also at this stage, before you glue this in, I have to put inserts in here as well before I glue it on. Or I could probably glue them on once it's on, but I'll do a dry fit to make sure first. It's this stage though, you need to decide what armament you're putting on the aircraft. Because if you're using rocket tubes, you'll have for rocket launcher tube, there's 2 holes, so that hole there and there, so it sits where the above the or under the gun ports, ejection ports for the shells. And if you're going to use a pylon and have bombs, then you use these holes. So I'm at the second, I'm not sure which way I'm going, because I have built the P-47 with both bombs and rocket tubes. So what I'm going to do is just get these other parts and have dry fit, and then I'll decide which way I'm going for armament. This is just a dry fit, these 2 insert panels. So that's that one with the light in it and the wingtip area. Now I find I've cleaned up the ejection tabs, but like here, the piece is square, but the actual wing is a bit rounded in the corners, and that's why it's not going in all the way, if you can see what I mean. It's touching the corners, but you got that gap. So I'll probably get the square diamond file, just gently give that a file there to see if I can get that in better. Similar here, but I'll clean it up once it's glued in. I'm not sure how that gap will look. Might need a bit of, just a smidge of perfect plastic putty or something like that. I use that one because it's in areas like that, because it's water soluble, so it's easy to clean off, because you don't want to take out your rivet detail. And I decided I'm going with the rocket launcher tubes. Second wing is together. I've managed to, that actuator, which you can see, this is the one on the second wing. I got that one in without breaking it, but I did bend it and I had to put a bit of super glue on it to hold it. The other one, however, I've bumped it somewhere and it's gone flying off and I can't find it. There's a bit. But what I'll probably do is just use a piece of plastic rod or stretch sprue to replace it. That's to hold the gear door open on the fuselage side. This kit, MiniArt are giving you the option you can have gear down, gear up. So I'm doing gear down obviously, but I just show for those who like doing wheels up. So this is the part for that obviously, otherwise you got your split doors as per normal. So it's pretty good. This bit here just needs to bit of fettling to go down a bit more flush. Otherwise it looks pretty good. I mean, for out of the box and an option to actually do wheels up. So I'm just showing you that for those who like that. I haven't done the tail wheel yet, but that option's there as well. You got the closed gear doors, or you have your open. When I put that in, I'll see if I can have a dry fit and see if that fits alright as well. Alright, my cockpit is together. I go over to wash with the Tamiya Panaline Accent colour, dark brown. That's, I don't know, I always seem to grab that one when I'm doing World War II cockpits. It goes good with the interior green. So I've glued it together obviously, put the instrument panel in, no problems. After like I mentioned on that bit, I had to cut out the slots to fit. So this sit beautiful, and I'll show you on this one. So you got those corner sections, so that's for them. They fit there in there good, as you can see. And the top, which has come loose there, I'll have to glue that again, but that top, there's a lip on the, so here, this section, you see that upper section will fit into this groove here, and that fit beautiful, but yeah, my glues come unstuck there, probably because I had wash in there. It was probably not quite dry yet, so I'll do it again. But anyway, once you put the other half on, it'll hold its position anyway. You just gotta line it up. Yeah, I'm not, this is why I don't do stuff live, because usually it doesn't go to plan, but it'll, once that side's in, it'll push it up into position anyway, but I will glue it again. And also, if you want to see, so your wing, because many, and myself included, not a fan of wings plugging onto fuselage. It's usually you get the lower wing as one section, but they've engineered this pretty good. So you got the wheel well bulkheads stick out and they go into there. It's not, I've got to double check the edge, make sure I've cleaned everything up properly. It's, once the glue goes in, it'll push in a bit better, but it fits pretty good from what I can gather so far. So it looks pretty good, and once you glue it, that'll be solid, so you don't worry about and they've moulded in that panel line at the wing root, so you don't have to worry about that. You just need to clean up the leading edge seam line. So yeah, it looks very nice. Started gluing the fuselage together. This piece sits on the end, which the engine will mount to, like so. I've still got to glue in one side. I've got a few little gaps that will need one there. I've tried pulling that in, but it'd pull in on the tail, but not there. That'll need some putty. And this is a case of where I mentioned early on cleaning up your mating surfaces, not to go too far. By the looks of it, I've gone a bit far when sanding there, and I've got a gap again. That'll be putty. Nothing major. So I mentioned about if you wanted wheels up for the tail gear, all good fit, straight up. So if you want to do wheels up, you shouldn't have any issues. This antenna, my dog barking, antenna, I just tapped it and it snapped, so I've super glued it. So I'm sure that won't be the only time I bump that. I'll have to clean it up again when I'm getting into the painting stage. Okay, the tail wheel, there's two options here. So you got, it's a little bit vague at first, but there's an arrow saying this option or this option. So you got a more open style, just with the wheel frame, and then you have another version that's sort of an enclosed area. So you won't see this one. You'll see more into your bay. This one will cover it all up. Not really sure as to which to do. The call out on these don't really show much. They're pretty basic. Yeah, so I'm not sure yet which one I'm going to do there. Also, so this panel sits on top. I've had a dry fit and it's not real great. So something is failing. Okay, as you can see, it's not wanting to sit. And I'm going to say it's this bulkhead is not sitting well in here. Somehow it's being fouled, so I'm going to have to just have a closer look at that and get a better fit happening, which may involve taking a bit off that bulkhead, to filing it down a bit, sanding it down a bit, or your other option is doing something in the inside of there. You're not going to see it, but it needs to fit better than that, that's for sure.